Tom Aspinall just retired Jon Jones. Just as he predicted, Tom Aspinall, over a year ago, I think, said, I will retire this man without even having to fight him. He's never going to fight me. And despite all the umming and ahhing and all the fucking pretending that he was going to actually ever get in the cage with Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones has done what we always knew he was going to do. He's tucked tail and ran. Imagine calling yourself a goat and yet behaving like such a duck. I mean, this is like back in the playground. Jon Jones has got a bike. Tom Aspinall's come over and goes, give us your bike now. What you have to do then is fight. You have to defend what your shit is and say, no, you're not going to take this. And do you know what Jon Jones did? You have it. I don't want to fight. You can have it. This is unbelievable. The greatest of all time. What a load of shit. I'm sorry. Never going to call that him the GOAT. Ever again. Because being the greatest of all time is not just about winning. And that's what Jon Jones doesn't understand. It's about how you conduct yourself throughout the whole of your career. Are you willing to fight the biggest challenges, the biggest tests, go in there and test yourself against everyone? And Jon Jones proved, without a shadow of a doubt, his biggest test stepped up and he bottled it well and truly. Remember this clip from like over a year ago when Jon actually met Tom in person?
Respect, man.
All the best.
Respect.
All the best.
Do a quick picture.
Sure.
Yeah?
Let's get it.
A face-off. No, okay.
He wouldn't even face off with Tom Aspinall, let alone get in a cage with him. And after all of the fannying around and waiting for Jon Jones to man up and strap his balls on and defend his heavyweight title, because you've never really earned it. You beat a guy who wasn't even the champion. You beat Stipe. Oh my God, what a farce that fight was. That will go down as the most pointless, pathetic fight I can imagine in a world title fight in UFC history. What a waste of time that was. And all of that time letting Jon just waste time fighting old man Stipe, who could barely fucking walk, let alone fight. They gave him a bone. They threw him a bone and went, we'll give you the Stipe fight if you give us the Aspinall fight. He took the Stipe fight and then went running. And we have wasted so many fucking months, and all of it for what? For Jon Jones to eventually get to the point where the UFC were like, are you going to fucking fight or not? And he's put a fucking tweet out to retire. That's what all of this was for. A fucking tweet. Oh, and a press conference in Azerbaijan.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
It's honestly a disgrace that this is how Tom Aspinall wins his heavyweight world title when Jones never beat anyone who was the champion either. Jones was never any more of a champion than Tom Aspinall was. But for him to be announced as world champ like this, it's just not right. And when you look at the star that Tom Aspinall could be, the amount of fights he could have had in all of this time, and the fact that he's just patiently sat there and wasted months and over a year of his career in his prime, because Jon Jones might want to fight him. What a disaster this is. And I can't believe that it's taken the UFC this long to figure that out. And I get it on the one hand, because they're trying to give the fans what they want. And also, who would have really believed that someone like Jon Jones would delay things this long and bottle it in such fashion? I mean, it's pathetic on his part. But to be fair, Aspinall predicted it himself. So I just wish that they hadn't Michael Chandlered him this badly and kept him on ice. And inactivity is a terrible thing for fighters. And I just hope that this doesn't impact Aspinall's career any more than it already has. Because unlike Jon Jones, people can say what they want about Jon Jones as a fighter, right? We've all acknowledged he's a skilled fighter. But as a man, I think he's a piece of shit. And Tom Aspinall is a very good man, in my opinion. And I just hope he gets the treatment that he deserves for the remainder of his UFC career, because this hasn't been good enough. The one good thing to come out of this for Tom Aspinall, other than the heavyweight title, is kind of his aura now. When the greatest of all time won't even step in a cage with you, it builds up who you are, right? You have that fear factor of the guy who everyone was scared of is scared of him. How fucking good is Tom Aspinall? Very good is the answer. And it's funny because in all of the posturing that Jon did in the tweeting and the interviews, and I don't care, I don't want to fight him, he doesn't do anything for all of that coping that we witnessed, where he was trying to say everything he could to make himself feel better about not wanting to fight this guy, and telling us all how unbothered he was in fighting Tom Aspinall, showed exactly how bothered he was. Because Jon Jones, like, you know, even though he thinks he's smart, He's a child, right? And he doesn't realize in all of that coping, we can read him like a fucking book. And all he's done is kind of promoted Tom Aspinall for an entire year in this tour that he's gone on, in showing you're scared of him, mate, and we fucking know you are. Because actions speak louder than words. And Jon Jones has moaned his entire career about fighter pay. He named his price. Dana White gave him it and said, yep, no problem. And he still turned down the fight. This is a man motivated by money. He never shuts up about it. You get your biggest payday ever, and you still haven't got the balls to step a toe in that fucking cage with him. I know a lot of Jon Jones fans, will be hating and all of that, and, he doesn't need the fight, whatever. His heavyweight legacy has been the worst of any heavyweight we've ever seen as a champion. You know deep down, your boy bottled it. And anyone who's deluding themselves into thinking otherwise, you got to grow up, man. It's so obvious what's going on here. And I get it. You're emotionally attached to a fighter. He won all of those fights. He's the GOAT in your eyes, but you have to understand, he's now the duck. He is the duck, and he will be the duck forever. If Tom Aspinall loses a fight to someone who has got the balls to step in the cage with him, he'll be immediately on Twitter, say, I told you he wasn't that good. I've always been better than him. No. We're not having that. You didn't have the balls to get in the cage with Tom Aspinall. If someone else beats him, that's their win, not yours. And that could happen. Because we all know heavyweight MMA is different to every other division. One punch can change everything. And that is exactly why Jon Jones does not want to be in there with him. Let's look at the Stipe fight, man. Bloody hell. Stipe was so slow, and yet he landed plenty of times on Jon Jones. I mean, look how slow Jon looks. He got uppercutted there. He's so there for the taking. Aspinall, oh my God, man. Anyone who knows anything about fighting will watch this, look at this man, and know Tom Aspinall would have smashed him by the first 2 rounds maximum. First round, I would have put money on. Honestly, it's just, and he would have known, like, he is so much slower than Tom. It's unbelievable, man. And now, a word from our sponsors. Have you had a random phone call in the last couple of months? The ones where there's a random number and they're trying to sell you something, or even worse, trying to con you? Well, that's not a coincidence. The chances are your data has actually been compromised. It can happen to anyone. And if you want to take control of your data, check out the Incogn link in the description below. You can get 60% off your annual plan on me. Now, the reason this is actually an issue is online there's these shady guys called data brokers. They go and scrape the internet for your personal details, your email, full name, address, even your political affiliation. And they then sell that to marketing firms or third parties. And it's gotten to a point where victims have come forward and said that they've been scammed by people using AI voices on them to trick them into giving up their money. And of course, they go after the most vulnerable people, which is why this might be something you want to recommend to others as well. They're always offering high interest loans or sketchy financial products. And this is where Incogn will come in to protect you. They reach out to these data brokers and demand on your behalf that your information be removed from their database. And they don't just stop at that. They are constantly policing the internet to make sure that your details never go back on. So if you're someone who likes privacy, this is the one for you. And there's even a custom removals feature where basically if your details end up on any website that you're not happy with it being on, you can put the link into their system and then their privacy team will investigate it and work hard to get it removed for you. Having Incogn is like having your own personal data removal squad, and they will tackle the internet's trickiest corners for you. All you got to do is click the link in the description, create your Incogn account, and tell them whose data you want removed. You then grant them permission to work on your behalf. Then you just sit back, relax, and they will keep you updated along the way. And the best bit is it's risk-free for 30 days, so you can try it out, and if it's not for you, you'll get a full refund. So take back your personal data now. Click the link in the description below, go to incogn.com/paingame, and you can use my code PAINGAME, all block capitals, all one word, and get 60% off your annual plan. So big love to Incogn for looking after us, but for now, enjoy the video. And all of this has been about ego. It's Jon Jones's ego. That's the most important thing in Jon Jones's world. He just couldn't hang the gloves up after Stipe. He wanted to and ah, and he wanted to pretend like I might fight him, I might not, knowing the whole time I'm never fighting this guy. But I don't want them to know that. I don't want it to be obvious that I'm just ducking and running. And in trying to not make it obvious, because he isn't the smartest guy, he's made it as obvious as humanly possible. Ariel Helwani reported on it. He said Jon Jones asked for a lot of money. The UFC got him that money. And then a couple of days later, he said, I'm out. It's unbelievable. A man who fought the majority of his career with a massive size advantage on other fighters finally meets a fighter who is bigger than him, faster than him, stronger than him. We've never seen Jon Jones in there with anyone anywhere near the likes of Tom Aspinall. Not even close. And we never fucking will. And the funny thing is I remember the early years of Jon Jones's career in the UFC vividly, and you were amazed by some of the things he was able to do. But it's been years since I watched a Jon Jones fight, and I'm like, wow, that was a good performance. Like, it's been a long time. When was the last time Jon Jones actually looked good in a fight? I mean, Stipe fight was fucking horrendous. Cyril Gane, he never got started because Cyril can't stop a fucking takedown. Dominic Reyes, he got beat in that fight, and that was obvious. Thiago Santos, he looked shit, and it was a split decision. He looked shit in that fight. Anthony Smith, he looked shit in that fight. Gustafsson, yeah, that was actually pretty good, but Gustafsson was so shot by that point. It's hard to gauge. Daniel Cormier, the knockout, that was a good fucking performance. Guess what? He popped for drugs in that fight. So can you even count that? The Oven St. Preuve fight was terrible. The Daniel Cormier, the first time they fought, that was a good performance. That was 2015. There's been a lot of bang average performances in the last 10 years. And I honestly won't miss him. I won't miss him for the way he's carried himself as a heavyweight champion, which has been utterly pathetic. But I won't even miss watching him fight anymore, because the fantastic version of Jon Jones that we've seen was 10 years ago. Tom Aspinall doesn't just beat the version of Jon Jones now. He beats any version of him. And I really rate this post from Tom Aspinall. For you fans, it's time to get this heavyweight division going. An active, undisputed champion. And that's the difference. Jon Jones only cares about himself. And he did this interview right before he retired, and it's just pathetic, to be honest.
I want to say that I'm retired because fighting's in my blood. Right now, I could really care less about fighting. I've been doing it my whole life at a very high level. When the itch comes back, and if it comes back, then I'll do it with my whole heart.
If Tom Aspinall loses and someone takes him out for me, then I might come back. But until then, I'm staying the fuck away. That's what's happening here.
I look around and I realize what's true. See the way people look at me and the way I make people feel.
This is so delusional.
What would it take to fight Tom Aspinall from the UFC? Like, what does the UFC got to do?
Said something real wild on off the cuff. I'll see you guys later.
That's it.
Yeah,
right.
Just the mere mention of Tom Aspinall, he's gone. Like, what the fuck am I watching? And when I seen this posted on Twitter, Aspinall is not in a position to excite me, was the quote. I said, not exciting. This would have been his biggest ever payday. But I wouldn't be excited about getting knocked out either. The classic tactics of retire and hope someone takes him out for you. Then you can claim you were always better anyways. A GOAT would never behave like this. And I truly believe that. But one of the replies really made me laugh. Replies turned off. Shock. I've never had them on for years. And life's too short for me to argue with people on Twitter, because you end up replying, and I haven't got time for it, right? I'd rather do me videos where I can talk at length, because then you actually get well-rounded points. You can really, I can't really do that on Twitter. But I'll make an exception because this was such a funny point. The fight is a lose-lose for Jon Jones. Oh my God. Nobody is even getting near Tom Aspinall right now. If Jon Jones beats Tom Aspinall after the career he's had at light heavyweight, because the heavyweight career, it's a bullshit career, right? Let's be honest. It's 2 fights, 2 easy fights. If you go out and beat Tom Aspinall, you're untouchable forever. You spanned all those weight classes and eras, and you've beaten the best guy in the UFC right now. And to say that's a lose-lose, it just shows how brainwashed people can get from listening to this idiot Jon Jones. If he wins, people will just move on to the next name to fling at him. There is nobody else, man. There's only one guy. You're literally believing everything he tells you. The internet's full of stupid people, let's be honest. If he somehow lost, he will get endless amounts of grief, even though he's 37 and inactive. He's inactive because of his own self. He's chosen to be inactive. And by the way, Aspinall's only 5 years younger. Usyk's fighting Dubois, and there's a way bigger age gap in their fight, but you can't call Jon Jones anything like Alexander Usyk. He is not on the same planet as him. He's not someone who takes on all challengers, bigger guys. He's nowhere near that level of GOAT. The best Jones beats the best Aspinall. Simple as that. You tell me one fighter that is anything like Aspinall that Jon Jones beat. Exactly. Bullshit. He has never been in there with anyone as fast, powerful, as big as Tom Aspinall. He's never seen anything like it, and he never will, because he hasn't got the nuts for it. Daniel Cormier has come out and saying by not stepping in the octagon, he quit. He did not want to fight Tom Aspinall. Bang on, DC. Bang on. And do you know what? Do you think Daniel Cormier or Cain Velasquez or even Stipe Miocic, when he was champion, would have backed down and handed the belt over without even fighting Tom Aspinall for it? Not in a million years. No way. But up here, he was never tested in the way he would have been in fighting someone who he was completely outmatched by physically. He's never done that before. And that's where you find out the real dog, what's really inside you. Yeah, he might have beaten Daniel Cormier. He might have beaten, Stipe Miocic. But in there, I put them above him. A true champion defends his title. He doesn't just hand it over. It's shocking.
What took so long for you to tell us, hey, if it comes back, I'll come back. But right now it's not there. What took so long?
What took so long is Jon didn't want to retire. He really wanted to fight. He just doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. So he hummed and hawed because he wanted to long it out as much as he can to not make it so obvious that he went running. And in doing so, he's made it very obvious. He's not smart. That's what took so long. He didn't know how to play this. If he just retired immediately after he fought Stipe in that farce of a fight, it would have looked like, okay, you had your one and then you went. And it would have looked cowardly still, but it wouldn't have looked as bad. Fucking hell. This looks terrible. I don't know why we're surprised, by the way. He dubbed Francis Ngannou for multiple years. He just had a better excuse for it. Oh, I need to put size on. I need more time. Even though he was 260 pounds after 1 year of leaving light heavyweight. He should have fought him immediately. But he took as long as he could and he only pepped his head out the door the minute fucking Francis Ngannou left. Now, Francis Ngannou has been tweeting about still being the champion because no one beat him, remember? And maybe there may be a world in which we see Tom Aspinall versus Francis Ngannou. Dana White didn't seem overly keen, but he also didn't say completely no.
One thing I've learned over the years about Francis doesn't always mean what he says publicly. What he says behind the scenes are different than what he says publicly. I'm not a big fan. I would be shocked if Francis ever came back here.
You know what I have to say, though? If I was having a chat with Dana, I'd say, I get it. You've got problems with Francis. Fair enough. But you owe the fans here. We waited a long time. That division, we've never seen people put petitions up to strip a UFC fighter before. It was that absurd. And the UFC heavyweight division has always been insanely stagnant, and it's always taken a year just to get a title fight on the go. Year in, year out. It's very rare we've seen people defend the title regularly in the heavyweight division. And it's a division that has been poorly managed historically. You do owe the fans here. And Aspinall versus Ngannou would be massive. And let's be real. If Tom Aspinall beat Francis Ngannou, that would be a better win on his resume than any win Jon Jones has ever had. By a mile. And remember, Francis Ngannou is the lineal heavyweight UFC champion. He was never defeated. It would crystallize Tom Aspinall's status as UFC champion if that was to happen. It's a fucking hard fight. Francis has been training boxing. His hands will be even better when he comes back. And we know he can wrestle. He can do it all. But that would be a really good way of sort of sweeping aside Jon Jones's memory as UFC heavyweight champion, because let's be honest, it was a pathetic title reign. And this would go a long way, I think, to also give the fans a big fight, because God, do we need them in the UFC right now. I have never known the UFC be the way it is. It's not looking good. Do you know what I mean? It really needs an injection. We need a fight like that desperately. And honestly, I hope we never see Jon Jones back in the UFC ever again. It's been a long time since he actually even was in an entertaining fight anyway. But also just the way he's held that belt hostage, the way he's fucked the fans around and hummed and hawed. He showed no respect for the UFC or the fans. And judging by this news, I'm not sure he's going to change anytime soon. Obviously, he's had many criminal issues over his career. Jones, 37, faces a misdemeanor charge of leaving the scene of an accident earlier this year. Apparently in February, an officer for Albuquerque police was called to a scene of an accident and found a woman in the passenger seat who appeared to be intoxicated and not fully clothed. The woman alleged that the driver of the vehicle was Jones, but he left the scene. So Jones is pissed, probably, because she's pissed. He crashes his car with her pretty much naked in the fucking passenger seat with him, and then legs it and leaves her at the scene of the crime. Fuck me. Obviously, we know he likes to take drugs and drink when he's driving. That's happened plenty of times in his past. And he's thought, if they catch me, I'm fucked. Because he's obviously had previous issues, and we know in America they do take that into account when sentencing you. And he's legged it again. Not for the first time. Remember the pregnant woman he injured when he had the first crash? Legged it and then came back, got his drugs, and then went. The naked chick calls Jon Jones. The police are there. They can hear the call. And they said Jon Jones appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties. The man on the phone would not confirm if he was in fact Jon Jones. Imagine, right? This guy's 37 years old. He's got a bunch of kids. He's got a missus. And this is like how he's spending his private life. It's so funny because she's obviously told the cops, like, he got in the crash and then he legged it. And he's saying that it was her who drove his car away from his home. And then she got in the crash, jumped in the passenger seat, and then pretended it was him. I really hope they've got the CCTV, because that'll be hilarious. Is that not you running down the street, though? The woman later told the police she drank alcohol and consumed mushrooms at Jones's house and recalled needing to change her clothes at his house. Oh yeah, I bet you did. Do you remember this one?
Other prison officers, I hate you. I hate you.
He was headbutting the cop car when he got arrested a while back. I mean, this is a guy who's just, he's got issues, right? And I think him, you know, saying, I don't need fighting, I don't care about fighting anymore. This guy needs fighting. He's delusional. I can't think that his life without the need for discipline and structure that fighting brings is going to be good. I think it's going to get worse. If someone like him isn't in the gym and letting that out, fuck knows what we're going to happen to him in his life. Might end up like Conor McGregor. That's a story for another day. Let me know what you think about the fact that Jon Jones has now just given Tom Aspinall this belt over, and who would you like to see Tom Aspinall fight next? I do think Cyril Gane might be the way to go, just so that he can beat Cyril Gane in a totally different way to Jon Jones. I don't really care about how long it takes him, because we all know Cyril Gane can't stop a takedown, and you know that was an easy win for Jon Jones. But I think beating Cyril on the feet would be a lot more impressive, because that is where Cyril is at his best. Anyone can beat someone at their weakest game, beat him at his best, and that's really proving something. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the Pain Game YouTube channel. I'll see you on the next one.